we turned things green in the studio for our next guest, jumping on board with Greenlight Dispensaries, if not one of the most popular, if not the most popular marijuana store that you're going to find. All of their stores, not only around the state of Missouri, but outside the state as well. We jump in with our new friend, Eric Masters from Greenlight Dispensary. Eric, good morning. Thanks for jumping in with us, my friend. How are sales?
Good morning. Thanks for having me. Sales are good. Increased recreational more than expectation.
Yeah, I was going to say we've seen some of the figures that have come out. What do you think, and why do you think sales have taken Missouri by storm? Because I saw some figures that if it stays on the same pace, Missouri, that's right, the show me state, will break the record for most sales in its first year becoming legal.
I think there's several factors to that. One of them, this state, the organization, MOCAN, and everybody else does a wonderful job. Picking up from your last conversation, I came here from San Francisco, as a matter of fact. I was there for 12 years with an ownership group in cannabis. Saw firsthand, medical transition to recreational there. Mm-hmm. Having come here and seeing what's going on, it's the best program in the state as far as I'm concerned, or in the country as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, it came out of nowhere. How long was Missouri kind of involved in getting all this stuff legalized and put together? And then what's the future from this point out?
So I came in a little after. So I think around 2017 is when the ball started rolling. I think you had to get applications in and everything started happening. Mm-hmm. 2019 is when I came in. They started cutting permits, and then we were open early 2020. So it was a relatively quick turnaround. And then obviously recreational just turned February 3rd of this year. Yeah. So very healthy, expedited program.
Nice. Just not to jump in, but tax revenue. People like me, I don't smoke pot, but I do have a lot of friends that do, and I don't. I'm
maybe you need to start.
Maybe I do. What do you think the tax revenue is going to be like? I know it's going to be exponential, but just in the short term, how is the tax revenue going to be helping out communities like this?
So in this, again, they've done an interesting program with this. It's spread out pretty healthily. In the medical program, 4% went to the Veterans Association. So we continue to pay the 4% taxes to the Veterans Association out the gate. You get the normal sales tax. Mm-hmm. Each municipality now gets a 3%. And I think the county in whole was trying to gun for another 3%. Okay. So each individual municipality that the dispensary's in benefits directly from it. The veterans benefit directly from it, and then everybody as a whole. And with that being said, it's all built within a competitive tax structure, much better than Illinois. It's not predatory. It is built for the patients and the customers, and the products and medicine are still very affordable.
Nice. I'd love to hear that stuff. Hey, we had a quick question for you. Are you guys caught up on product since 420?
So it's not, yeah. So there is a bit of a shortage right now. I don't know how much it's talked about, but again, that was another thing with what's going on with sales. The border state effect, I think, is a little stronger than anybody was ever anticipating.
Wow, that's a good point. So what are those laws?
I don't know if people like to talk about it, but it is a fact, and it is something that affects what's going on.
No, I think that our audience is, everybody on this show is business minded. That is a great point, that your inventory. Now, how does that work with the state borders and all that stuff? It would be, obviously it would be better if you had an entire plot of land that you could grow your own stuff, but you guys have to import that stuff from other places. Is that correct?
No. So that's not what I'm referring to. So everything, we're vertically integrated, and there's no interstate commerce. Okay. So all of our stuff is from Missouri and Missouri only. Okay. What's happening is all of the surrounding states that don't have a medical or recreational program are now crossing the state line. It is recreational use, 21 and up. So
Okay.
That's crazy. We're hearing, that's
So it's like when we used to go to stages because you could get in stages at 17 years old.
Yeah, Tabitha, you were going to say what?
Yes, Eric, I'm very curious. What type of products do you sell? I came into one of the promotional deals at one of the dispensaries at one point, and I'm just curious. I mean, do you sell like the edibles? Is it the oils? I don't know what all the different range of products could be.
And again, so we're in the infancy of this market. There will be more coming out, but even at this point, we have everything from edibles to vapes to smokables. I've got transdermal patches. I've got compounds. I've got tinctures, plant-based pills, so they're non-caloric. I've got super high CBD to THC ratioed products for people who are not into psychoactivity. Anything that would make you interested in cannabis, I have a product for you.
What about people that are very curious about this? We used to have our good friend Scotty Gherkin. He's in the CBD world. As more people find out about your product and they're like, I just kind of want to experiment with it. How do you recommend that people get involved that had no, use of marijuana in the past?
Okay, so the best thing I would say is I've got a crew of budtenders handled one-on-one consultations, everybody from experience down below. Okay. My number one recommendation is to tell people to come into the shop, which I know some people are timid about. Okay. And I would like to point out, you can shop anonymously if you wanted. So you can come into the shop and go through the system. Nobody would ever know you were here. You wouldn't have to give your name or anything like that. And you can kind of get around that stigma. But coming into the shop is the number one thing. Going online is kind of expansive and a little overwhelming, but you can categorize and go through and kind of look at things that pique your interest, then come in. And we'll help. There it is right there. Yeah, help you narrow it down.
And we're talking with Eric Masters from Greenlight Dispensaries. First of all, talk about where your stores are, because to buy products, I don't think you can buy online, right? People have to come into the store to buy your products. We wanted to make sure people understood where all your stores were, or they can go to canceltheshow.com. We have you guys listed on our site. Plus, they can go to your website. You guys are massive.
Yes. So in the St. Louis location, we've got 3 current open. Mine is the Berkeley location, 4451 Brown Road. That's Natural Bridge and Brown Road. We've got the Ferguson location that's at 5517 South Florissant. And then they have an underground, just a little side note. So the second weekend of every month, which is coming up on the 12th and 13th, I believe, they have an underground, which is a farmers market style sales thing where you purchase directly from the vendors at a discounted rate. There's music, there's food. It's a big celebration. And you go in this back cavernous second dispensary inside of the dispensary. But it's super cool. Awesome. And then we've got the Chippewa location down on, and I don't know the exact number, but it's Watson and Chippewa. Man.
Yeah, there's several stores. And for our listeners, it's all throughout the state of Missouri, including, is it into Arkansas as well?
Not Arkansas. We are MSO. I know West Virginia could be. It is Arkansas, but they're medical only, so they are in Arkansas.
No, that makes sense.
And then South Dakota, I feel like.
No, lots of questions coming in. Are companies still drug screening for marijuana now that it's legal?
So there are certain protections with a med card. I'm glad somebody asked that. That goes down this avenue. So med cards do have certain protections, and I believe employment protection is one of them. We also offer a med card program. So I have a lady in my shop 2 days a week. She's at the Ferguson location another 2 days. She'll aid and assist anybody who needs to get a med card for whatever reason.
Yeah.
And we have a discounted program of $49 to see the doctor, $25 to the state, and then we actually give you a $25 in-store coupon.
Yeah. Hey, Eric, what questions do you hear most often from people coming in to buy? I'm sure that there are things you hear more often than others.
I mean, it's a lot of what y'all were saying, introductory questions. People that just wanted that, just questions. I'm trying to
Well,
narrow it
let me
down
narrow
because
one
the
down for you.
spectrum is very wide.
Let me give you one. So Lisa, one of our listeners, she says, I went in and this is how I would do it. Exactly how she did it. She goes, what do you have for someone to curb menopause problems? I mean, that might be a question. I mean,
well, there might be people who are coming in saying, what can I do to lose weight? Or what
So
can
you
I
don't
do
have to
to
take
get
a
more
pill.
energy? Or
yeah. So, I mean, that would be
Natural.
an example of someone walking in, right? Someone saying, I have menopause problems. I was told by a friend of mine, maybe next door, that said, you got to go check this place out, but I have no idea what to do. I mean, is that the kind of level of questioning that you guys might get?
100%. We'll get even more personal than that. That was actually a good one. And with that being said, it would be first, what's your preferred ingestion method? Are you wanting to smoke or vape, or would you prefer to do a topical or an edible? And then once I narrowed that down,
I didn't even know. No, that's great, man. I mean, so you can put a lotion on and
we've got transdermal compounds. And then I'll be honest, and to go down it, this is one of those products that we don't have here yet, but for the specific thing you're talking about in California, we had suppositories and they sold like hotcakes because of abdominal pain, menstrual cramps. They were a #1 selling product. And you'll probably see stuff like that end up in this market as well.
Do you ever think of yourself as a doctor? I mean, I'm not being funny. I'm seriously saying.
That's a great question, Eric.
I mean, if you go to a doctor, they're going to give you all kinds of pharmaceuticals, and they come to you with a suppository, and you fix their problems. You're helping them for the rest of their life, maybe.
It is 100. We call it consultation. We downplay it quite a bit, but in depth. There, yes, we're RNs at minimum. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's not a bad thing; it's a good thing. But it's,
no, 100%. And we're therapists also. We do.
Right.
We are here. We listen. We care. We're here for our patients and customers 100%.
Yeah. That's awesome, man.
I'm talking with Eric Masters from Greenlight Dispensaries. You can check out their stores online on our website at canceltheshow.com, or you can go to their site for Greenlight Dispensaries. They've got stores all over the place. You can't buy online. You go into the store to buy. And once again, we've got a coupon as we continue this interview. Joe will pop that up. Just check out this download. You can download the coupon that we're showing you. That's a discount code for Cancel This, so that Greenlight Dispensary knows that you've got a $5 off first purchase.
Yeah. That
way they can track too from that standpoint to see who's watching, who's going out to check on what Eric's talking to us today about. So that's a Cancel This discount code that you can use to go in there and find out whatever you need to do. What has been one of your most popular products throughout all of your stores? Because you just whipped off about 15 things, Eric, that you guys have. And even though I know a little bit, I'm like, how does the average person who is not an expert know what this product here can do for you, this product here? So what's popular these days?
Well, with the shortage, the obvious, flour is king. At the end of the day, it's, 60% of my net sales, my gross sales. So that is definitely king. With that being said, in the shortage of that, vaporizers are becoming more and more popular. They're discreet. Nobody knows necessarily what you're doing.
Yeah.
It's a convenient, fast way to medicate.
Back in the day, it's funny. When I was like in my teens, my next door neighbors, they knew so much about pot, and they used their little looking glass to see how many crystals were in it, and they could tell you what everything was.
But I'm looking at Eric's website with Greenlight. My gosh, there's so much.
I know. Do people?
That's why you need to get into the store too.
Do people ever come into your store and know more about the product than you do?
Self-education with the internet and Reddit. I learn stuff every day. I'm not going to lie. And I've been in this industry 12 plus years. You are 100% correct.
Hey man, tell me about the red bud with the Sensimilia that has like 42,000 crystals per square. It's like, that's how you know. Okay, let's have a talk.
Okay, if somebody's kind of on edge and they may not be feeling like themselves, what would you offer?
So on edge, and this is an interesting one too. For the longest time, I always assumed that when people talked about anxiety, that they wanted to suppress it, that the ideal was that I feel anxious, I want to kind of suppress that.
Mhm.
And just a quick anecdote, I had a person come in. I'm anxious, I'm anxiety, I want something. I gave them a good indica to relax them.
Mhm.
And they came back and they're like, well, I went to the party and I was just sat on the couch and I just wanted to eat popcorn and not talk to anybody. And it blew my mind. They didn't want something to suppress it. They wanted something to make them talkative. They wanted to be motivated a little bit. So now when people ask that, it's, do you want to suppress it? Or are you trying to find something a little giggly and talky to get you going?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And
Tabitha needs a sativa.
Don't even go there with me. Because when you said that, I knew you were talking about me. Because you know what,
about
Eric?
me.
You might want to go back and watch the beginning of the show. Eric needs something to make him shut up. Do you have anything that does that?
It's called duct tape.
good strong indica. That's the
We'll do that.
Touche.
We'll all
I
take.
deserve
We'll take different gummies.
Because trust me, I'm not on edge.
I wouldn't mind.
I'm just going to defend myself to the very death.
I answered it. Nobody. I wouldn't mind trying.
Exactly, Joe.
If we can do like a sampling, something where you're like, look, if you take this, it'll increase your. See, I want to increase energy, and I want energy. Because when I go on stage, because I play on Fridays and Saturday nights a lot of the time, I want to bump up a little bit just to get a little bit more in. Is there anything like that?
Yeah, I've got one product. So
no, I don't.
It turns out that THCV is that energetic component that makes a sativa a true sativa. And Chiba Chew has a little Laffy Taffy that's a it's pure energy, man. Come on in. I'll get you taken care of.
I want to try that so bad because it's just a you know how it is, Vic.
It's a shot of espresso. I've got to warn you, man.
I am so used to espresso, it's unbelievable. I can handle this.
And I'm assuming, Eric, I mean, I know so little about this, which is why I'm not asking that many questions because I just have no idea. But it's all natural, correct?
Yes. And well, here's the other thing I don't think people realize too.
To it.
Well, we're third-party tested. So in this state and every state, testing facilities are not allowed to be owned by, retail owners, manufacturers, or cultivators. So it's a third-party company. They test parts per million. So your heavy metals. I have a COA for everything that we have that shows where the product came from, seed to sale, and the testing particulates in it. Pesticides-free, heavy metal-free. Everything,
man. I'll tell you what, our chat line's going nuts. I'd have to swing a dead cat just to hit one of these things.
No, it's true.
Unbelievable.
It's so popular these days.
I've never seen our chat line go this nuts.
And there's a lot of people have questions and don't want to come in. The stigma
Absolutely.
is very strong.
Yeah.
And there's such a push these days to get rid of pharmaceuticals and use something natural because we're so tired of putting chemicals into our body. And even though I don't personally use it, maybe someday I will, but and I certainly would if I had a health condition, I thought it would improve. But you think when something that God gave us to use for healing properties is so much better for you than something some pharmaceutical companies make.
Yeah, I agree, Tab. Anything that's you can go and get some help. And is there any downside to this, man? Is there something like if I recommended my brother, I said, man, go to this store. Is there anything you go, now here's a disclaimer, and then fill in the blank. Is there anything that you can think of?
Look, at the end of the day, and it's like anything else, if you're inhaling it, you have the risk of smoking. Outside of smoking, cannabis has no negative anything. Rick Simpson cured skin cancer with it. Once you do ignite something and combust it, there's carbon residuals. You can't do it with anything. Nicotine's healthy. Nicotine in certain forms is healthy. Smoking it is atrocious for you.
Yeah.
It's a similar thing. It's unfortunate about smoking, but outside of that, no.
Okay.
Munchies and a good nap is about your only risk.
Yeah. No. Oh, curing an
That was the
ailment,
voice
getting
of God
sleep.
right there. That was
And I like the CBD cream. One of our friends who makes products gave me some face serum, and I'll tell you what, I think my skin has never felt better or looked better.
Yeah, they don't sell that at their store. They're all THC.
But what somebody on the comment line was saying is they were going to come in and buy some of your THC products, and they were going to make their own cream.
Yeah.
100%. We have people make edibles out of our products. There is the ingenuity of people is amazing.
I love what we're seeing here. What is something that might be a misnomer these days when it comes to the industry that you're in for people using products? Or, for example, if I see you thinking again, Eric, for example, when it comes to the use of marijuana, maybe over, let's say, something pharma related?
Oh,
Over pharma related?
be careful. Pfizer's listening.
I mean, oh yeah, no, believe you me. They didn't want us here. DuPont didn't. Nobody wanted us here, and we're here.
Wow.
So,
Wow, that's very interesting to me because we don't know the backstories on a lot of these things.
They see you as competition.
So we had, between hemp and fiber, you had DuPont against us. You had alcohol against us, tobacco. You had the church against us. It's quite impressive that cannabis made it where it did with as much corporate backing to kill this stuff. Billions and billions of dollars over the last 100 years, 80 years.
Because unlike alcohol, which everybody equates this with, alcohol is one of the worst things you can put in your body with all the sugar and the carcinogenics and killing people on the highways. It's weird when you do the compare and contrast between alcohol and marijuana. Marijuana has a much better, safer track record. And on top of that, now we're learning it actually helps conditions that are wide conditions. You can't drink and drive. Can you smoke pot and drive?
No. So, and it's very thin lines. I think those are the new things. But again, I treat it like alcohol when it comes to being behind the wheel of a car. I don't want any problems or questions or anything. So,
are they going to have to develop laws for marijuana and now that it's legal? Because it's like, there's a blood alcohol test that will get you in trouble. Is there a THC test that will get you in trouble?
As of now, there's not. They treat it as a DUI. I believe that they do go down as driving under the influence. Again, with what you're saying, it's fat soluble, so it's in your lipids and stays in your body much longer. So blood testing isn't as accurate. I don't know how they hold up in court. I'll be honest with a DUI against marijuana.
I'm just asking. I'm not making any suggestions.
Don't they have a breathalyzer though? I heard they have a breathalyzer.
I haven't heard that.
I don't know.
That would be hard. That would be, I don't know.
That would be different.
Okay. And I have another common question for you. Can you overdose on marijuana?
In the sense that you can take a dose that is uncomfortable, 100%. Overdosing in the sense of killing yourself, like you think of opiates and what you would do with that. No, it's not like that. You can get too high and very uncomfortable especially with edibles, extended amounts of time, but your endocannabinoid system will purge that. You will go back to, feeling normal again.
Question from our comments. Do edibles give you the munchies?
They can. They can. And being a lot of chocolate and sugars, those can be kind of problematic with that, especially if you're using it at nighttime. So they do have the alternatives. We've got those plant-based pills. We do have things that kind of get you away from the habit of eating gummies, which kind of makes you want to eat more gummies.
It is interesting. I went to watch Eric's in a band, Platinum Rock Legends. He's a superstar. And we went and watched him Saturday night. And I asked somebody, it's like, hey, did you want to drink? And they're like, no. It's like, I've got my gummies and I'm cool. So so it's a whole new interesting people like, no, I've got my gummies. I'm cool. I'm having a great time. And they just didn't want to drink alcohol.
Yeah, the industry's going to become a multi-trillion-dollar industry the day that you're able to sell gummies to bars and clubs and restaurants, and it becomes. I mean, you're right. We're in this weird era right now where there's still a stigma in it. When the stigma is gone and the next generation comes out, and they're like, we don't have any stigma about it.
I think the stigma is
exactly. Can I get you a
fast?
Can I get you a beer? Can I get you a plate of gummies? That's what your waiter is going to say eventually, because it's a social, it can be a social thing, right? I mean, for the most part,
it 100%
medical
is.
thing, or doesn't have to be recreational, but it can be the same kind of thing that maybe you enjoy some gummies at a restaurant somehow. Eventually, do you see that, or am I just like completely out of my mind?
Well, the problem with that is the licensing and the way that through the medical transition to recreational, it's very, very, very regulated. So they tend to be isolated. I did hear that I think Circle K in Florida, some Canadian company is partnering with them and trying to put dispensaries in Circle K's, which would be kind of the first step in that direction.
Yeah. The reason
But
I say
again,
that is
it's hard to it's
Keystone Ski Lodge, one of them up there in Colorado, actually sold a packet of THC gummies as you were getting your ski rentals. And I was like, this can't be right. It can't be right. But
That's
it
not
was
a good idea.
It was exactly. I was like, is that CBD? No, that's THC.
Not unless you're going really slow.
And we fed my brother one, and he almost went into a tree. Anyway, those things can be strong. Are there on the labels? Do you say, please do not eat this whole thing? Cut it in half.
There's warnings, and then our methodology. This is what we tell anybody, especially new people. You can always eat more. You can never uneat your dose.
Bam! What a great way of putting it.
Yeah.
Stick by it. And here's the other thing with your physiology and what you've eaten and every factor that goes into it.
Yes.
It takes about 2 hours before I feel the desired effects.
Okay.
That's very good advice
that.
because I've only eaten edibles once. I've never been high ever in my life.
Okay.
But one time I tried edibles with a friend of mine who works in your industry.
Mm-hmm.
And even though he works in the industry, he's like, well, it takes 45 minutes to take effect. Well, then when nothing happened, he's like, well, let's eat another one. And then another one. And the next thing you knew, we slept for like 15 hours.
So you have been high at least
But it
once.
was fine. I mean, nothing bad happened or nothing.
That's what you need. You need some sleep.
Did you have fun doing it?
Stop telling me I need stuff.
not in a negative way. You have been able to sleep because you're working your tail off.
Do you remember enjoying the experience? Let me ask you that.
It was funny. It was funny because it was like the TV was
I would pay
3D
$1,000 right now to see Tabitha stoned. I
couldn't stand up straight. What was interesting is I couldn't stand up straight. When I walked, I was like walking sideways. But it didn't hurt me. It didn't have any bad effects. I felt perfectly fine the next day.
Exactly.
And if that was alcohol, that wouldn't be the case.
Yeah.
And we do try to tell people to avoid that. I tell people to wait a solid 2 hours before even considering taking that next dose, just to make sure you're not getting a latent response.
Latent response.
And trust me, listen to his advice.
Yeah.
Listen to his advice.
Yeah.
And what she was talking about is an
that's
overdose.
fun.
That's what an overdose would be considered, sleeping too long.
Oh, God forbid.
But it's not dangerous. I wasn't no way in harm of dying or anything. I actually had the most sleep I've ever had in my life.
So is marijuana a gateway to psilocybin eventually?
I hate the gateway. No, I think a certain type of person finds psilocybin. I don't think it has anything to do with cannabis. I think that's a breed of person.
Okay. Yeah.
I think sugar is the real gateway drug. If there's a gateway drug out there,
yes,
what we're feeding our kids is sugar.
Thank you.
Pop-Tarts is a gateway drug, Vic.
Trust me, it's taking me a long time to try to get unaddicted.
Me too.
I fight it all the freaking time.
Me too.
It's the hardest one.
Yeah.
And it gets you into everything else.
You're absolutely right. You are right.
So is there anything I want to give you a chance right now too? Anything that we haven't talked to you about or asked you about that you think's important as we kind of give introductory information, because we're going to continue a series of joining Greenlight people like Eric and some of his colleagues teaching us about products, what they have, how they can help you, your family, whatever may be the case. Anything that we haven't spoken about that you think's important to remind people about, or any information?
I wanted to double back because we keep talking about the online menu. And although you can't purchase online, you can pre-order.
Okay.
And you can pick it. You can do Dutchy Pay and actually pre-authorize the payment. And then we have a drive-through at Here and Florissant. So again, for anonymous purchases, if you didn't want to come in, place your pre-order, come on through the drive-through. You'll be on your way in no time.
It's great.
Yeah, and you can trust Greenlight. You can. Eric, an example of what the company's doing. We've learned a lot this morning, that's for sure, with what we're starting to see come in, come out with all the products, some of the things that you've been talking about. I did get another question, Eric, before we let you go. Are we starting to see any THC drinks? We've seen Monster drinks. We've seen Gatorade. I mean, are there THC drinks? Do you sell them currently?
We currently do. So if you go to edibles, they should be listed there. Or if you look up Keith, can you go to just the search panel?
Yes.
Yeah, Joe, nice job.
Joe's kicking it.
Yeah, he really is. Okay, what is he supposed to type in?
Just put in KI and it should come up.
KI. I mean, there's going to be a lot of people like at midnight searching this stuff out.
And Eric, a couple people since you've been on the show have already messaged me, and they want to come in, and they said when they actually come into the store, do they need to show their driver's license?
So yes, you generally okay. So if you want to come through with the full experience, you give your driver's license at the receptionist. They put you into the POS system. We put you into the sales floor. You get a one-on-one consultation with a budtender. Show them your ID to confirm that we are indeed selling to that person.
Okay.
But there is a way to also come in and not show
There
your
you
driver's
go.
license.
Yes, that was the full experience. There's your drinks. There's some of them right there.
Interesting.
And then the second one is if you come in, you just have your ID ready and say, hey, I'd like to shop anonymous. Then you go onto the sales floor. When you go up to the register, you just let them know you're shopping anonymous. They build out an anonymous profile, and you're good to go.
So
excellent.
So I'm taking what's the age limit? How
21. You have 21. To be 21.
Okay, 21 years
21
old.
and up.
That's great. It's an industry that's responsible. I like it.
It is. And you know, especially on a show like this, Eric, so many of our listeners, they're so interested in avoiding the pharmaceuticals. Like I said earlier, they want something natural. They want a system where they can come in and shop anonymously because they don't want their information to be held. It's so amazing that you offer all of these things in one place.
Yes.
No, it is. Go ahead, sir.
Oh, just a one-stop shop. Again, we can get your med card. We can get you anonymous. We haven't even talked about it, but I have a glass. You can get any apparatus you need to consume as well. We've got it all here. So any question or anything you have, come on into a Greenlight, any of the 3 locations, Chippewa, Berkeley, or Ferguson, and soon to be Rock Hill.
Bring it to St. Charles. Let's go. We need some
fantastic.
We need some love out in St. Charles.
Wait. No, I said that. It's Rock Hill off of Manchester. I said that wrong.
Yes.
Rock Hill off of Manchester. I know the logo, so the brand is starting to work.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
%.
And can I ask one more question before I go, Eric? I'm just assuming that as a bud tender, all of your bud tenders know all of the products. I'm sure they've used all of the products so that they can educate people that come in.
As much as possible. You would be surprised with how many SKUs we have. I have hundreds of gummies, hundreds of vapes. We're knowledgeable. If it's a product we haven't consumed, we can recommend, refer, and talk about it as well.
Excellent.
But it's kind of hard to expect the bud tenders to consume everything there is. They do a good job.
They would like to.
Do you do while you work? I mean, that's a legitimate question, right?
No. So it's like a normal job. There's no consumption on, nobody's medicating on their job.
Good.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
But
we
do.
When you go to the doctor, you don't want him to know that he's on the Oxycontin. Hey, what's going on?
We're going to continue to keep up to date with you guys, whether it's you or some of your other colleagues. But I can't wait to learn about specific products. And I really, really, really started to see some of the value in marijuana when it came to having somebody close to me in my family that didn't want to take some of the pharma drugs and started looking at this stuff and some of the, I guess you'll say the advantages that it really helped with, as you said, anxiety, depression, things of that nature. So we will get into specific products as we continue this relationship with Greenlight. That's for sure. I
mean, the topics of conversation, you would need 45 days just to get through them all. I mean, seriously, I keep thinking about this. I go, here's what's going to make this industry go nuts. Is when you have people who weren't privy to marijuana in the past now tell a friend that I took this gummy and it solved my menopause problems. Just that one little nugget alone will go exponential as far as the growth of this.
Pain control. My grandmother, before she passed away,
pain control.
She was in so much pain. I gave her one of those little vape pens because you're willing to do anything to help your family, or if you're in that much pain, to help yourself without taking actual narcotics.
Yeah, it helped me accept the Patriots winning a Super Bowl a few years ago.
What did you take?
I would have been. It was a very, very nice gummy, and it was my Patriots gummy. And I didn't care that they ended up winning. Thank God.
Greatest of all time.
Eric, love you, man. Eric Masters, Greenlight Dispensaries. You can check them out on our website, cancelthisshow.com. But we also have a code. So here's the code. It's the cancel code. So when you go into the store or you make your pre-order, you're supposed to say you've got the cancel code. It's $5 off that Greenlight is providing. so you can see it. It's the cancel this discount code. Give you $5 off. It helps them track too. Who's listening, who's going into their stores, just to give them an idea of what they're doing when it comes to this advertising side.
Love it.
We appreciate it. It's the cancel this code. Eric, we'll talk to you next time, brother. Appreciate it. Thank you
Thanks
so
for
much.
having me.
Good luck for everything when it comes to Greenlight Dispensaries.